Actually, Big Yoda said that. There is no do. There's no try. Do or do not. There is no try. Hey, everybody, it's JJ Conway. I'm so excited to be here with you today. It is one of my favorite nights of the month. It is Fireside Chat night. Now, look, before I get into the content for today, this is some juicy content. We're going to be talking about CD ladders and CD stairways, and we're going to be talking about other financial strategies to help you put more money in your pocket, more money into your future, and receive more passive income out of your future. My goal is to help you dump debt, build wealth, and prosper. And I'm super, super excited to be here with you today. Let me go ahead and just pull up. Let me just go ahead and pull up a slide here real quick. Okay, there we go. Let me check and make sure that we're good on the free conference call. If you are on free conference call, if you are listening to me on free conference call, here's what I'm going to ask you to do. If you have a question and you want to ask it with your voice on the recording, then I'm going to ask you to dial into the free conference call. I have just enabled, let me put it on speaker so they can hear me better. I have just enabled the Q&A mode, and what that allows us to do is that allows me to hear your question, but oops, you can't even see me. Hold on. Hey, y'all, it's so good to see y'all. What Q&A mode allows me to do is it allows me to hear your question. And when we take these recordings of the Thursday night classes and we extract them for the Building Wealth Together podcast, your happy voice talking about your business and what you all about is going to be on the podcast. Hey, who doesn't like free advertising, right? Hey, I'm so glad you're on today. I hope that you are walking in peace and blessings today. I'm so excited about today's content because today's content is going to be your content. It's Q&A. What have you sent me as questions that we need to answer? And I love responding to what you need. So there are three ways, y'all, three ways to get your question answered tonight. The first way is to drop it in the chat. Look, if you drop it in the chat, that's easiest for everybody because you see it, I see it, we all see it, and it helps the ratings. You know what? Speaking of the ratings, I'm going to ask y'all to help a sister out today. I'm going to need y'all to like. I'm going to need you to subscribe. Do me a favor and hit that share button. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're on my channel or Fly Nubian Queen, I'm going to ask you to hit that like, subscribe, and share button. And I'm going to ask you to go ahead and do all the things because look, who is going to share this video? Right? Who is going to share this video? I'm going to tell you who's not going to share it. The Google algorithms, the Microsoft algorithms, I don't know what that's called in the iPhone world, but whatever the iPhone world algorithms are, they're not going to share this kind of content because these big companies have too much of a vested interest in keeping the poor poor. I said it. And so what I need you to do is to get this content into the hands of as many people who are trying to build a new life, a better life for themselves and their family and their future generations by hitting that like, that subscribe. And you know what I found out on YouTube? Here's something I found out on YouTube is that you can subscribe to a channel, but not necessarily have the notifications turned on. So look, I'm going to need y'all to turn on your notifications so that you know the next time I go live, especially if you're on my channel, but also if you're on any of the other channels that we broadcast to. All right. So let me go ahead and take a look. Let's take a look and see what questions are coming in. If you got a question, just follow the ticker down there. You can post your comment. That is the easiest way to ask a question. And if you're listening to this as a replay on the Building Wealth Together podcast, then I'm going to encourage you to join us live every Thursday night. We have another class. First Thursdays like today, that is our Fireside Chat where I answer your questions with what I like to think is style and grace. All right. And then our second Thursday is our 7-figure business building. How can you create multiple streams of passive income to help you take your life to the next level? Then third Thursday, we return to our our roots. We're building wealth together began at Keller Williams Kingstown, and we do real estate investing 101. And so this year we've covered foreclosure consulting. We've covered driving for dollars. We've covered wholesaling. I mean, we have covered a lot of different ways that you can start building wealth and dumping debt, even if you never buy the property. That's every third Thursday. And then on our fourth Thursdays, that is our empowered entrepreneur. How do you get to become the kind of person who attracts into their life, receives into their life, and most importantly, maintains in their life the kind of life that you want? So, there's a lot of talk about let's work hard, work hard, work hard. I think working hard is a good part of success. Like, I don't know too many people that were successful and didn't work hard at some point in their life. Like, they may be relaxing on the beach right now, running their business on autopilot, but they had to get to that momentum place, And so I think a lot of people would not tell you don't work hard, right? Unless they're trying to sell you a package on how you can make millions without working hard. Even Dr. Watkins has his how to be a multimillionaire with 5 minutes of effort a month, right? I think it's a month, maybe it's a week. And I'm like, ooh, that sounds like Lazy Easy Street. Well, you know what? He has shown you how to take what hard work and distill it down to the absolute bare necessities. But because a lot of us won't do it, ooh, we don't even get those kinds of results. Now, that's a crying shame. Let me just stop for a second. Hey, how you doing? I'm so glad to see you on today. But I got to hang on this, and I would love to get somebody's advice that talks about relationships. What kind of world do we live in that we are not even willing to put in 5 minutes a day, 5 minutes a week, 5 minutes a month to make our future happen? Now, y'all know that's some kind of foolishness right there. But many of us in the United States have been sold this bill of goods. And this bill of goods makes us feel like it's hopeless, like we're not good enough. It's not possible. But I tell you what, if you stick with me and the people like Dr. Watkins that I follow, then all together we will help you lift up everything in your life. Oh my goodness, y'all. Okay. I got to get to my questions, but I'm so excited about what's coming up. In a couple weeks, we're going to be in Chicago. We're going to be in Chicago for Juneteenth Legacy. Oh, I'm so excited, y'all. We got where's my slide? I wanted to show y'all a pretty slide for my Juneteenth conference. Well, you're going to have to wait. I'm going to show you. I'm going to screen share this bad boy. Hold on. Let me screen share it because I didn't prep my slide. But you know what? I have it on the window so I can share it to you. I'm so excited, y'all. We got some heavy hitters coming to talk about the issues that people of color, especially poor people of color, face in building wealth. And what makes it worse is that you now have people who are somewhat successful, right? And so when you have people who are successful despite the obstacles, and when you have people who are successful despite the struggles and the challenges, what happens then is it makes it harder for other people to realize that a lot of these challenges and these systemic issues still exist. So then what you want to do is you want to help create pathways for others to come behind you, but everybody else is like, we don't need to worry about that anymore. That's not a thing anymore. I mean, come on, you had a president. What more do you want? All right, let me stop. But I'm so excited about Juneteenth Legacy. I'm so excited. Ooh, look at that. My numbers dropped, y'all. I must have offended a lot of people when I said we weren't willing to work for our future. But let me tell you something about your future. If nobody cares about your future more than you do, and nobody is going to work harder for your future than you will. So if you're not willing to work hard for your future, it's not going to happen. But there are people out there who are willing to pour into you. I mean, you can't get any simpler than what Dr. Boyce posts on his page. You can't get any simpler than what Dr. George Fraser puts on his page. You can't get any simpler than the wealth of knowledge that is shared in channels like mine. All right. Ooh, hey, D, I'm so happy that you're on today. All right. Showing people how to collect that debt, collect that bill, get paid for what you're supposed to do, and not just on an invoice, but also in real life, like in cash money. Collect that money. And D will show you how to do that. All right. I'm so happy y'all are on today. Okay, so Let me show y'all my conference. Hold on. I'm so excited, y'all. This is our Juneteenth Legacy Conference. We're going to be in Chicago. We're going to be live in the room, or you can be in the Zoom. We're going to have the conference that helps you build and grow generational wealth for leaders, professionals, and entrepreneurs. You'll get an opportunity if you're in Chicago to meet the headliners in person. You'll also get an opportunity to get some shout outs. Even if you're on the Zoom, that's fine. And we are going to have a wonderful, wonderful time. Now, look, I remember what it was like to be $800,000 in debt. Okay. I remember what that was like. I remember what it was like to not be able to put food on my table without somebody else cooking a meal for me, or somebody in my church they were themselves on public assistance, but they brought me big old bags of clothes for my little one. Like, I remember those days, and I remember how thankful I was that people supported me and helped carry me through. And I'm here to help support you and carry you through. If you are willing to put in the time, you are willing to put in the effort, that I'm willing to stand behind you and help you increase financially. And that's what this conference has done. Every speaker in this conference, we're going to be talking about some serious issues. Let me see if I can make this bigger so you can see that a little better. Every speaker who is in this conference has worked with me to bring you the highest quality content with affordable ticket prices. Okay. Now, I don't ever ask anybody. Well, let me just scroll on down. We're gonna save that for another day. But I'm gonna scroll on down so you can see what this conference is about. And if you have been trying so hard to make things work and you keep hitting yourself against brick walls, it may not be your fault. You need to come onto this conference and understand what's really going on behind the scenes, and more importantly, what you can do about it. All right. So let's get to our questions today. If you've got a financial question, a business question, I mean, really, I'm in the ministry, so you could even ask a Bible question. But look, this is not a religious show today. We are asking secular questions. Although my faith probably will come out, because it rides out on everything I do, just like yours probably does too, right? Whatever faith you are. But you can ask me anything tonight, and we're going to start off talking about a CD ladder and a CD stairway. So somebody writes in, hold on, would help if I have my questions handy. somebody writes in, JJ, I heard you mention a CD ladder, and I've heard others mention a CD stairway. What is the difference, and why do I need them? This is a great question. And so what I want to do is I want to walk through it. Now, I know personally I've used the terms interchangeably, and I haven't heard people really use both terms. I use both terms because to me they mean different things, but most financial planners mean one or the other when they're talking about a CD stairway or a CD ladder. Okay. So what I'm going to show you for CD stairway might be considered by some other financial gurus, some other financial experts, as a CD ladder. And what I'm going to show you for a CD ladder might be considered by some other financial experts as a CD stairway. Either way, I'm going to show you what I consider, and then you'll at least have that foundation of knowledge. Okay. And I did it again, y'all. I went to work out at the gym, right? Y'all, I tried a new gym. Okay, I'm not. Nope. I'll talk about that later. There's a whole episode that we've done about me going to this new gym. It's fantastic, but you know what? It took me 2 weeks to actually step in there. And y'all know I work out because y'all watch my walking videos. So that's a whole nother conversation we need to have, because some of us are held back by silly things like what was holding me back. All right. So let's talk about what a CD is first of all. So when you have funds that you don't want to go in the market, When you have funds that you don't want to go in the market, why wouldn't you want funds to go in the market? I mean, that's where all the passive income is, right? Don't you want all your money to go into the market? Well, you do want your money to go into the market, but the market goes up and down and up and down. And even though it trends to up, so if you've got 5 or 10 years, I want you to put your money in the market. The reality is it's going to go up, it's going to go down. It's going to go up and you're going to be so happy, and then it's going to go down, and then you're going to be like, I should sell all my stock and all my mutual funds and all my index funds because it's going to go down, and your heart is going to be like, oh. But if you follow the financial guidelines that I teach, your heart is going to be like, yeah, it's okay. I'm good. Right. So that's part of why I teach what I teach, so that you can stomach the troughs in the market. You can ride up the peaks and stomach the troughs and ride up another peak again. OK, but let's say you're going to buy a house in 3 to 5 years. Congratulations. Yay, you. All right. You're going to get to go buy yourself a house. You have saved up. You have got a big bonus on the job for your down payment. And you just want to make sure that money is there when you need it. OK. Some financial planners might tell you, go ahead and put it in the market. In 5 years, it'll come back. For me, when it comes to something, I need that money. Like I need all my money. I'm a little bit more of a 5 to 7 to 10 year kind of person in the market. So what can you do with your money? I mean, you could put it in a savings account, but savings account are earning like 0.0001% these days. Now you could go online if you felt comfortable with that and get up to like 4 or 5% in some online savings accounts. But a lot of people are uncomfortable with that right now with all the things that have been going on lately. You could put it in a what they call a money market fund, which is like a big savings account, a higher dollar level, and you can't do as much with it. So a regular savings account, I can pull out money, put money in, pull out money, put money in. I landed a big contract and I decided to pay myself and go shopping, take the money out. I get paid another big contract and decide, oh, well, you know what? That's actually business funds. Never mind. We're not going to commingle today. My company pays me a big bonus because I landed a big contract. My company pays a big bonus because I landed a big contract. So what do? I might put some in savings. I might take some out to go shopping. My kid wants to go to Chuck E. Cheese. I might pull some out and go to Chuck E. Cheese. I just might do whatever. On a regular savings account, you can do that. But on a money market, here's what happens. The banks are going to pay you more interest. Why are they going to pay you more interest? Because you're going to put more money in there. So on a regular savings account, you could have $2 and they're not going to charge you fees if you got a good bank or a credit union. But in a money market, they usually want at least 1,000, if not 5,000, if not 10,000. But because you're putting a lot more money in there, and because you only get limited number of transactions, they are going to pay you higher interest. That's good. Your money is not at risk. Now, now, look. For all y'all who have been on the Black Financial Channel and you have been reading The Motley Fool and you've been on Bigger Pockets and you've been on Investopedia, you know fair, full, and well, if you put your money in savings, there's always an opportunity cost, okay? However, I'm a huge fan of having savings. You got to have liquid savings because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Like if you had liquid savings and the pandemic happened and you had the 6 to 12 months that I usually recommend of your expenses saved up, you wouldn't have been sweating bullets when the economy shut down. Now, granted, in that situation, the pandemic lasted a lot longer, but people's financial necessity would not have outpaced their savings if they had had a 6 to 12 month savings. If you had a 6 to 12 month savings, don't be embarrassed. I want you to drop it in the chat or send me a PM so we can talk about it, okay? So I want you to have a savings. There's always an opportunity cost because if I put the money in the savings account, that's money that's not being invested in real estate. And right now I'm turning about a 20% return on investment in my real estate. So you can't even go in the market and get that right now. So if I put my money in a money market account, even a nice fat juicy one, and I'm making 3%, 5%, well, that's still, I'm not making what I could make in the market, but I have the cash. See, if I put that money in the market and then I try to sell it, well, the market be down in a trough and now I've lost. Or the market could be tied up in real estate. My money could be tied up in real estate. And then now I got to sell the house to get it. Well, look, I don't I'm not trying to be like that. When emergency happens, when I had it one summer, we replaced 3. Did you hear what I said? 3 air conditioning units in the middle of summer. Do you know what's the most expensive time to replace an air conditioning unit? How about the middle of summer? Not 1, not 2, but 3. And if I didn't have liquid savings, woo-wee, a lot of people would have been sitting on that on a what you call it, a window unit. And I don't know about y'all, but most of my properties are nice. They may not be $1 million homes, but even my properties in the hood are nice properties in the hood. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have properties that I would have liked to have lived in as a child, as a young adult, even now as an adult. Okay. So I mean, we're not trying to be cheap and slumlords. Like, I didn't work hard to get out of poverty so I could turn around and keep other people in it. Oh, this is taking a whole nother turn. Okay, let me get back to the CDs. All right. So money market is a different type of savings account that is bigger, usually pays you more interest, but you only get so many. You can't just go shopping with your savings and put some back in, and go to Chuck E. Cheese with the savings and put some back in, and go to the football game with some savings and put some back in. You can't do that all the day with the money market. Usually it's like 3 to 6 to 12 limits per month of things you can do in or out, right? The next highest level paying of money that is safe, so your money is not at risk. It doesn't go up and down and up and down, but it doesn't go up, but it doesn't go down. Okay, that would be your CD. And what a CD is, you are telling the bank or the financial institution that you have that CD with that I'm going to give you this money and you're going to hold it for 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever long you agree with, but y'all going to pay me a lot extra interest because I'm letting you tie up my money. Now, we all know what the banks are really doing with that money. They are taking your money into a CD. They are paying you 5, 6, 7% for that CD. They are turning around and lending that money back out in the form of credit cards or in the form of auto loans for like 12, 20, and 36%. Don't even get me started on car loans at 36%. I live in a state where there's no regulation on that. Y'all, my eyes have just really become open as a financial planner since moving to Texas. Another story for another time. All right. But even though we all understand that's how the game is played, the fact of the matter is, if you want to have your money in a safe place that you can get to, I mean, yes, there may be a penalty, but you can get to it. It's not tied up in a real estate. You're not going to have to sell stock and take a loss, or sell stock and take a hit capital gains tax. Okay, either long-term or short-term, depending on how long you had it. You don't have to deal with any of that. You might have to pay a little penalty, but it's there. Okay, but people who are in the money, they don't like paying penalties, so they use a CD ladder or they use a CD staircase. And I'm going to show you both of them. Okay, so what a CD a CD staircase is when you take your money and you buy different layers of CDs. So for example, I'm going to do a 6-month CD. I'm going to do a 1 year, and I did not draw this to scale. So for all my fellow scientists, I was a scientist in the Air Force for 23 years. This is not drawn to scale, okay? Because honestly, let me just get another piece of paper. That's going to bother me. That's going to be on my YouTube channel. It's going to be the one that goes viral, and it's going to be all bad. Yeah, okay. Let me just do that again. Okay, I'm not that OCD about a lot of things. But, some things, okay. Somebody one time, I was at a speakers thing, and we all spoke, and we went to dinner after the conference. And somebody was like, look at how she puts the tails from her shrimp. They're all in order. And somebody else was like, that's the kind of person you want managing your money. Okay. So anyway, CD staircase. So I'm going to do a 6-month CD. I'm going to do, I still drew it out of order. I mean, out of thing, but at least this way you get the picture. Okay. All right. So this will be 6 months. This will be 1 year, and this will be 2 year. Okay. So a CD staircase is, I'm going to put different CDs. Okay. So this 6-month one, that 6-month one, maybe I put $2,000 in there. Okay. Because I think if an emergency happens, I need 2,000 at any time. And I just keep cycling that 6 months of 2,000, right? The next one, maybe I put 3,000 in there because I want more money. And I know that, if I need to, I can float it with that 2,000, but in a 6 months after the 2,000, the 3,000 will come and I can handle it. I can handle it. I might have to borrow from friends and family because I don't have 3 ACs to go out like JJ has. I only have one. And if I have 2K come open and I can get 3K from my friends and family, then I could be okay. So I'll just do it like that. And then maybe on the 2-year, I'm gonna put 5K. Okay. So on the small one, I might only earn. I am making these numbers up. I have not done the market research, so please do not take this as financial gospel. I'm giving you an example. Okay. So on the 3K, maybe I'm making 4%. On the 1-year one, maybe I'm making 5%. On the 2-year one, maybe I'm making 7%. Okay. But my total funds invested equals 10K. Okay. When I talk about a CD staircase, when JJ Conway talks about a CD staircase, this is what I'm talking about. When some other financial planners talk about a CD staircase, they might be talking about this. When some other people talk about a CD ladder, they might be talking about this. But when JJ Conway talks about a CD staircase, I'm talking about this. Now, look, I'm going to say something that makes me look real bad. Okay. I'm going to say something that makes me look real bad. And I don't like to make me look bad because I know the people who have my same fun, flighty. Okay. I know I'm not the party girl kind of fun, but I like to have fun. I like to go out and do things. I don't like to be settled down. I'm a little bit of a free spirit. I was a super nerd when I was $800,000 in debt, but now that I'm out of debt and I can just buy what I want to go buy in the store, I have discovered I have a whole new fun side, y'all. And that fun side, she likes to shop. She likes to go out and have fun experiences. And one thing she don't like to do, she does not like to keep track of her money. So I use what Larry Burkett taught me back in the day, and it's what I call a CD ladder. Okay. And what I mean by CD ladder, and again, each financial educator has different ways they do it, but this is just what I mean by the CD ladder. Okay. So I might take that same $10,000 and I might break it up into 5 parts. Okay. And again, I did not draw that very well because I need 5s. I need 5s. All right. Let's just forget that one. It's there. So a reminder that I'm not perfect. Okay. So I'm going to break up. I know how I'll do it. I'll draw the big one. Okay. No, you need to see the little ones. Okay. So these are 2K each. Okay. So if I have a total of $10,000. I know that is not to scale, okay? Because if that was to scale, my little bitty one would be down here somewhere, okay? It would be down here somewhere, okay? But let's just say I have 10K that I want to put into a CD, okay? 10K total. But I don't want to have my money all the way tied up because I'm a mom who's worried that my baby's gonna call me from college and need some extra tuition or something. And I know that with my mouth and my intellect, I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm gonna make him figure it out himself. But I also know my mama's heart gonna be like, well, I can help you a little bit. I can help a little bit, honey. I already can see it happening, right? So I don't want to tie money up for 5 years. I'm not trying to tie money up for 2 years. I'm not trying to tie money up for a year. So here's what I do. Every 6 months, I take another 2K and I buy another thing. So what you end up having then is you end up having overlapping. Let's see if I can draw this over here. You end up having overlapping purchases. And again, these are not drawn to scale. If you are OCD like I normally am, these are not drawn to scale. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, because if they were drawn to scale, the 5 would go to the top of the the 5 would go to the top. But you know what I'm gonna do? Look, I'm gonna do like we do. I'm gonna fix it up. Like there's my line. Look, there's my line. It goes. Okay. So what I'm gonna have then is I'm gonna have 5 sets of $2,000 each, and every other month I'm gonna get a 6-month CD. Or if I'm doing it over a 12-month period, I would break it into 12 groupings. And every month I would buy another one. So that every month I've got 2K coming open. So when you smush it all together, it looks like a ladder. Okay? When you smush them all together, they look like a ladder. And every month something else is coming, another chunk is coming open, I roll it back in. Another chunk is coming open, I roll it back in. Another chunk is coming open, I roll it back in. And whether you do 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever it is that you feel comfortable with is going to be determined by how much money that you are putting into this thing and how often do you think you're going to need it and what your comfort level is. You got to balance your comfort level with how much you're making, because you might decide, why would I go into a 6-month and do all this over every 6 months when I could just put it all on the market and let it ride for 10 years? Well, if you can let it ride for 10 years, let it ride for 10 years, you know? But if you don't want to have your savings in a savings and you want to make a little more, that's when a CD will come to play. And so a lot of people find this easier from the perspective of you kind of set it and just keep going. So like every time you don't need the money, it just keeps going over. Other people find this one easier because they don't have to think so hard about what they've got. Now, what they do have to do is make sure when it comes time to renew that that's still the product they want, because every 6 months it's easier to see the changes than it is over 2 years. You know, sometimes we forget about stuff we haven't talked about or seen about in 2 years. That's why there's so much lost money out there. Okay. So anyway, that's what I'm talking about when I said CD staircase and when I say a CD ladder. Those are the two things that I'm talking about. Now, if you are listening to this on the Building Wealth Together podcast as part of our Wealth Building Wednesday, then I encourage you to go on to my YouTube channel where you can actually see what I drew out. Although it is not to proportion, you can go in and see what I drew out, and that way you'll be able to better understand what I'm talking about, because sometimes it's easier to see it visually. Okay. That was a fun question. Oh my goodness, that was a fun question. All right, let me see if we've got any more questions submitted. What I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to go check the free conference call for, I have one more question. I have one more question that I want to talk to you about. And then if we don't have other questions, then I'm probably going to call it a day, because I know that my little one's had football camp all week and he really wants to snuggle with his mama. He's supposed to already be asleep, but he's in here with me. And so I told him if he would be quiet, then I would snuggle with him later. And so his dad knows I'm not going around. Look, I'm not circumventing authority here. Look, just to make sure we all on the same page. Me and my husband on the same page. I don't circumvent his authority. He don't circumvent mine. But we made a conscious agreement since I was teaching tonight that we would let since it's summer, he don't have to go to school, that we would give the little one a little bit of allowance. All right. Especially since he's probably missing his buddy who's off at leadership camp, at Glen Lake Leadership Camp, to be a camp counselor. Yeah, I'm so excited. Okay. I don't see any questions, any hands raised in the free conference call. So if you're on free conference call and you have a question, thank you for being on free conference call. You know, every time I think I'm going to get rid of free conference call, somebody else uses it. And then I think, oh, well, it's still providing a valuable service. So of course I'm not going to cut off what people are using, right? You know, it's easy for people to use. I was thinking about doing Zoom. I couldn't figure out how to get Zoom to do what StreamYard does, although people have told me I can use Open Broadcaster, OBS, Open Broadcasting System. So I'm not asking you to sell me in a class that I'm not asking you to sell me in anything unless you're gonna come out here and set it up for me, right? But I'm very much looking into how to do that. And I say that because people are always like, oh, I've got this great product that's gonna help you mentioned. And I'm like, yeah, but it's gonna do the same thing as what I've already done. I've already looked on YouTube and stuff. I don't need done by me. I need done for me. Okay. All right. Next question. Oh, I got another question. Okay. So I've got 2 questions for you all today. And then again, if I don't have anything new, then we'll just go ahead and end. All right. The first question that I have, excuse me. The first question that I have is about crypto, whether or not I still recommend buying crypto. I love talking about this crypto because it reminds me so much of when Wallace Waddles wrote. So this course, my flagship wealth building religious version course, right? So I do Think and Grow Rich. I do Think and Grow Rich, right? I do Self-Image Rising, which is based on the book Psycho-Cybernetics, but this is a public domain book, so this is my workbook. You can go on Amazon and get, right? I do that class. And then I also do Authentic Abundance, which is a study of the science of getting rich by Wallace D. Waddles. And the reason I separated them out is because this one is really very spiritual, right? But one of the things that he says in this class, in his content, in this book, is how back when he wrote it was like 1903. Let me just look and see. When did he actually write it? Back in 1910. Okay, so he published this back in 1910, and he has a very interesting statement in here. He talks about how, you may not have made your money in steel like the steel tycoons did, but there's this new thing called the aeroplane. So make your day-to-day money in steel, spend less than you make, and use the excess to invest in this new technology called the aeroplane. I'm confident that it's going to change the world. Now, can you imagine that? Can you imagine living in a time before the airplane? Hey, I'm so glad you're on today. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate you. All right. Can you imagine being in a time before the airplane? I mean, just stop and think about it for a second. If you're my age or a little bit more mature, you remember a time without internet. You remember a time where, to dial somebody on the phone, you didn't have a smartphone in your pocket. To dial somebody on the phone, you had to go to the thing. You had to make sure nobody else was on the line, right? And you had to do this rotary, 1 number, 2 numbers, 3 numbers, and then the long wait to see if someone would connect. And then heaven forbid your parents show up on the other line, or on the other, not on the other line, but on the other phone, right? Like, anybody remember that? Like, I remember when the internet came out, and life was so different before the internet came out. Well, for me, I look at crypto as very much like the age of the airplane, or the age of the internet, or the age of AI, which we're kind of still in, right? AI is booming everywhere. And crypto had this big boom, and it did like a lot of other technologies. I mean, stop and think about it for a second. This whole crypto bust, that is nothing new if you read history. Think about the gold rush. Just think very carefully about the gold rush. How many people, if you do some research, you do a little bit of research, so many people went out to California to go strike it rich with gold. But guess what? So many other people who already received the first fruits of that knew to capitalize on their labor. There are a lot of people who went out to California and made it rich with gold. There are a lot of people who did not. There are people who made it rich by providing to those who were searching for gold. And guess what? If you look at who was more successful per capita, a greater percentage of those who were sharing equipment and developing things and selling to those who were heading west made the money, as opposed to the people who headed west. Okay. And so then it's almost like it never changes. And I haven't done the economic research on this. So, if Dr. Boyce is watching, please forgive me that I haven't done thorough research on this, but I would just hazard a guess, as a student of history, I would hazard a guess that every new technology has a few people who started off in poverty, who harnessed the power of that technology, made the relationships they needed to make, found a way to serve the people who wanted to make money off of it, bought themselves up out of poverty. But the greater population waited too long, jumped in too late, and then by the time they jumped in, were taking advantage of those who had already gotten there. And so then the poor stay poor. And one of my favorite books says, the poor you have with you always, and it's for reasons like this. So when you ask me about crypto, am I gonna ignore the fact that somebody ran up the prices on crypto and then stole off with everybody's money, and they're still trying to figure out how to get it back? Probably aren't going to get it back, because half the enforcement, half of whoever would enforce whatever it could be enforced, because it's kind of almost unenforceable. They probably all in cahoots about it. Am I going to ignore that? Of course I'm not going to ignore that. But what I am going to say is, look at where the money is made. Look at where the money is made in any new industry. It's not just about the crypto. And do I recommend buying some crypto? I absolutely do think that people should buy some crypto. Do I know which one's going to work? No, I have analysis that says this one might work better than that one, but I don't know enough to say that which one you should buy. I would suggest you do some analysis. I would suggest you should do some research. What I really do recommend, though, is that you look at a way to understand enough of the crypto and the blockchain and all the things that go along with it to be able to carve yourself out a piece. And I'm not talking about issuing a limited edition artwork NFT. That's cool if you can do that, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about looking at how you can slide yourself into this industry and carve yourself out a niche that nobody can take away from you. See, think about this. Wait. Hold on. Let me go back in here. Yes. Yo, y'all, look at this. Because people may not strike it rich, but they needed the shovels, the pans, the sleeping gear, etc. Yes. And guess what? The mercantile who sold everybody that thing, they might have known all the gold was already out of the hills, but they were still going to make the money because people were going to come and somebody was going to do it. Well, if they knew the gold was gone, they shouldn't have sold anything. Look, if they didn't sell it, somebody else would. Now, that's a selling lesson that a lot of us who are in business for ourselves today, we ought to mull on that one for just a little bit, because I know when I first got into sales, I didn't want to do, and I still don't want to do any kind of high pressure sales, and I didn't want to force people to make a decision. But one thing I found out, if they didn't buy from me, they're going to buy for the next vendor, and the next vendor wasn't going to take as good care of them as I would. When I was a realtor, I knew if I didn't close them and get them to sign the contract at that kitchen table that night, the next realtor was going to come along, use high pressure tactics, get them and guilt trip and manipulate them into signing, and then not take good care of them like I would. So we almost have a responsibility. We almost have a responsibility to sell to people because it helps them to move forward. And so who or what can you sell to? And I'm not talking about come up with a fly by night thing about crypto, but what avenue of this can you understand and implement and research and implement so that you can get some of that? I think about aviation. And I'm going to get to your question here. I'm going to get to this question here in a second. All right. When I think about aviation, when Wallace Wattles wrote this back in 1910, well, he didn't write this, but he wrote the book that this is based on, right? The chapter that, or the essays that this was based on back in 1910. When he wrote that about the airplane, he did not know all the different things that were going to spring up around it. And today you have all kinds of different industries that sprung up with aviation. You've got somebody who makes millions of dollars every year supplying a certain part that goes into a certain part of the airplane that makes it easier for the mechanics to do their job. Somebody else's company makes millions of dollars every year fulfilling the vending contract for XYZ airline. Somebody else's company makes millions of dollars every year because they figured out how to make baggage. I know baggage claim is annoying, and I know most of you are savvy travelers who don't even check bags anymore because it's a travesty. But somebody figured out how to make the carousel better, and their company made millions of dollars. And it doesn't matter that somebody else came along and came up with a new carousel that's even better than the better one. Everybody is still making money. So find yourself a piece of the technology. Look at how you can serve with integrity and ethically now. Look at how you can serve this crypto market until you feel comfortable that you know enough to dibble and dabble in it. And even if you don't feel comfortable enough to know what you're dibbling and dabbling with, I'm like, hey, it's a new thing. I think about all the domain names that I did not buy back when domain names were for sale, and I opened up Jasper Web Host. Now look, I don't have any documentation, but I'm pretty sure Jasper Web Host was the first Black woman owned web host and design company in the United States, because I was designing websites back in 1997, y'all. All right, I was designing business websites. There was this new internet, and there was, they had come out just a couple of years before, and these new payment processes and gateways, and that's where I'm gonna get into his question here. There's new processing systems. I learned how to use PayPal. I learned how to use Humble. I learned how to use this one and this one and that one and that one, so I could build people's websites for them. And I still have. I actually still have my original domain name registry account. I hold on to that thing, right? It's not as cheap as it used to be, but I hold on to that thing, right? Just because, hey, I was an OG, right, in the internet space. Even though it has nothing to do with what I do now. But I think about back when I was buying and selling domain names. It was a whole business. It still is a whole business. People buy and sell domain names all day long. And I think about all the names I didn't buy. And someone came along and they said, you know what you should do? I'm buying up as many 4 and 3 letter combinations as I can. You should buy 3 and 4 letter combinations. And I was like, I ain't got time for that. I got to buy stuff that people are going to recognize. The people that I'm selling to, they want something they can recognize. Oh my goodness. Do you know what 3 and 4 letter domains are selling for now? It could be RTZ. And you think, well, who's going to buy that? Well, somebody whose name is Ronald T. Zolier. And RTZ comes up for a sale, rtz.com. Do you know people are paying millions of dollars for those names now? So I rode some of the wave, and I'm not mad about the part that I missed, but it looks to me as a lesson like I didn't even understand, but had I bought some of them, I would have still profited. So what I'm going to say, and again, I am going to get back to that other question. What I am going to say is that even if you don't understand crypto, I don't want you investing in something you don't understand. In fact, I think crypto is so speculative. I call it speculation more than an investing. Like if you were going to invest in the companies that are providing the technology and investing in the companies that are doing research on how to provide the technology, companies who are doing the research into how's all this going to play out ethically and morally and societally and all that stuff, like that's investing. But if you're buying crypto, I'm looking at that as speculation. It could work. It could not work. It could make you millions. It could be like the dinars, the Iraqi dinars that are sitting in my safe box, not because they're worth anything, because that millions of dinars is like worth like 20 cents, but because it's a strong lesson to me in my business that you don't know which technology, you don't know which currency, you don't know which anything fill in the blank is actually going to work. But here's my thing. Even though you don't know if Bitcoin's going to last, and a lot of people say it will, even if you don't, well, we all know the Dogecoin is not going to last. But, I met some very enterprising people, one brother at the PNC and another one at the Faithpreneur Conference. And the PNC is the Power Networking Conference. If you've never been there, get with me, y'all. I can help you save $900 on your ticket. You want to be in a place where you have Black millionaires and billionaires waiting to pour into your business, to light the fire in your business, to mentor you in your business. Oh, you gotta be there. All right. But come to my conference first. Come to Juneteenth Legacy first. I get so excited about these other conferences that sometimes I promote other people's because I know what they've done for me. I know how they've helped catapult my business. I know how they've done for me, and I just want that for everybody else. But you want to come to Juneteenth Legacy because we're gonna be talking real talk about real issues. But you don't know what's gonna work. These enterprising young people, they're coming up with their own crypto. And I like to think that they're going to be successful. And I'm like, okay, sign me up. I'll buy a few. It's pizza money. My hips didn't need that money anyway. So maybe you're not going to buy Bitcoin with your baby's college fund. And I'm not going to ever say buy Bitcoin with your mortgage money. We're not gambling here. We're using sound financial principles. Sound financial principles is you spend less than you make it and you invest the rest. Sound financial principles. I know you're not going to like to hear this. My viewership is about to drop down. Oh, it's about to drop down. Is when I say this, sound financial principles is, oh no, man, that means get out of debt and stay out of debt. Right? That means you then have money to invest in and you have money to control your future. Oh, well, I can leverage other people's money. Okay, well, you do you. I'm just telling you as a financial planner, I got a lot of people who come to me after leveraging other people's money. And the only way I'm going to ever co-sign on you getting in debt is if you've got certain parameters. And usually that means you have the ability to take care of that debt. If was that song the kids were singing, if the sugar hits the fan. All right. So, but I wouldn't recommend investing calling yourself, oh, I'm investing in Bitcoin, we're going to strike it rich one day. Because first of all, it may not be, but even if you are investing, I wouldn't do it with your bill money. I wouldn't do it with your college fund. I wouldn't do it with your mortgage money, but do it with your pizza money. Get yourself out of debt, build yourself a savings, 6-month savings, invest 15 to 20% of your money in the market, stocks, mutual funds, index funds, real estate. Now, look, I'm not giving you financial advice. This is general financial guidelines that I give to everybody. I can't give you specific financial advice unless you engage me as your financial planner and we can sit down and do a thorough analysis of your situation. Fair enough. But these are general guidelines. Get out of debt, build up a savings, invest the difference between what you make and what you earn. I mean, what you earn and what you spend, 15 to 20% in good growth mutual funds, or maybe even in real estate. I love mutual funds. I love real estate because they're the number one and number two way that I have found that most financial gurus out there build their wealth. All right. So do those things. And then with the rest of the money, if there's any extra money later, go shopping and buy you some crypto. Go on a trip and buy you some crypto. You didn't need that McDonald's anyway. McDonald's is stealing money and health, which translates into money out of our communities at an alarming rate. Skip the McDonald's, buy you some crypto, okay? But you just don't know which one's going to last, all right? Hey, so glad you're on today. All right. So like I was saying about the beginning of the internet, I learned how to use PayPal because some people, they wanted to use PayPal to get their new business online, right? I'd use this processor and that. There were like 25 different processors that I had to learn, 20 different like Mal's e-commerce, which I still love Mal's. Nobody really uses it anymore because Stripe and all the other things make it easy, but that was like the best one ever, right? It's still in business. And Stripe came along well after this, but PayPal, of the ones that I started off with in 1997, y'all, only PayPal and Mal's e-commerce are still in business. So speculation back then would have been like, I don't know which one of these is going to work. I don't know which ones of these is going to last. I'm just going to do little bits of all of them. And then this one went out of business. That one went out of business. That one went out of business. PayPal almost went out of business, but they turned things around. And if you'd have invested in PayPal back then, now, your return. Well, actually, I think they went through a bankruptcy at one point. So maybe if you invested after that, if you reinvested after that, you would have gotten 1,000 times return on your money. But you didn't know that back in 1997. Just like today in 2023, we don't know if Bitcoin's going to be the stuff. Now, it could be. Indications are that it's fairly strong, but it could be that 10 years from now, Bitcoin is merged with something else, or they've gone bankrupt and something else has bought it out and polished it off and made it better. It could be that one of those young men that I met at these different conferences, that they launched theirs and theirs was so much easier to they're all kind of complicated to understand, but they did such a good job of educating people about the blockchain that everybody flocked to it because they could finally understand what was going on. And maybe that one takes off. I don't know. None of us know. It's speculation. But what I am going to say is don't do nothing. Learn a little bit every day. Do a little bit of research. Set aside 1 week a month, 1 week a month. Set aside 1 hour a week. 1 hour a month, put it on your calendar to learn about crypto. Don't you be left behind. Don't you be the next story of people who are worried that they didn't understand this new thing, the internet. And so then they are going to not invest in it or not buy websites or not buy web names because they don't understand this newfangled thing. Don't be that person today. If you want to learn about it, learn about it. If you're the kind of person just rushes in, rush in, but don't rush in with your family's future. Okay, is that fair enough? All right, now I'm going to address this question. And I gotta tell you, I'm about to delete this comment because, when I'm answering the questions, I want to answer the question. I don't want to stop answering that question and go answer somebody else's question in the middle of this question because this question came in first. I think if you were the one that asked the question, you'd like me to finish your question. Now, so, I get that you want me to answer your question before you go to bed, my brother, but come on now. Let's be fair to everybody. This is an equal opportunity. Let's be fair to everybody. I got questions in here that were asked before you came on the channel. All right. So I ain't trying to be rude or anything, But I appreciate you. And I think he's already gone, but that's okay. I'll still answer his question. Since we're talking about crypto, I'll answer this one about crypto before we go back there. When I think about the question is, for those of you who are listening on free conference call, how do you think the blockchain, Bitcoin, and Web 3.0 will change the landscape of investing and savings? I don't have enough research to say how I think it will change specifically, definitively, like, just like saying, and I can't give you specific financial advice if you're not my client, but I can say that things will have to change. One thing that will have to change with the a rise of these new technologies is that with everything being interconnected and everything being traceable, that's the line that everybody is being fed. However, as you have seen things play out in the results of the crash and of those who've absconded with people's money, as you have seen, things are not as easily traceable and trackable as we thought. However, if you are a student of history, if you are a student of religion, you will know that the world is growing more and more interconnected, and it has been predicted, not just in my faith, but in many other faiths, that the world is going to be more interconnected. It is going to be harder to do anything without people knowing what you're doing or what you're not doing. So what does that mean for investing in savings? Well, I don't know how that's all going to play out, to be honest with you, but I can tell you one thing: you better get yours while the getting is good. Don't sit around and wait for Uncle Sugar to help you out, okay? It's time to do what you got to do and take care of what you got to take care of. I am actually holding up a high thought that these changes and what I've learned about blockchain technology and the ability of people to do what they need to do and the ability of them to reach out globally, I believe that these things are actually going to help people who want to pull themselves out of poverty be able to be better pull themselves out of poverty. But at the current stage, in the current situation that we're in, they represent a lot of risk. There's a lot of risk there. There's a lot of risk as far as being able to translate your funds, and there's a lot of risk of being able to protect your funds. And it is not if you okay. Let me back up. If you have crypto and it is in like Coinbase or MetaFox or any of these different wallet kinds of things, I don't remember what they all are. I know Coinbase is one, and I'm trying to remember what the other ones are, but you all can drop them in the chat. If you've got your stuff out there, it's just like paper cash that you leave it on the table and you go to the bathroom, somebody can come along and get it. What I thought it was supposed to be so much more secure, and it's so transparent, and there's no oversight. Well, people are losing money, so that's why you can buy these little things. This is not one. This is my new phone, but you can buy these little things called wallets, and you plug it in and you download your crypto to the wallet and you unplug it. Why do you unplug it? Why do the people who are making the most money out of crypto use a standalone, not connected to the internet all the time wallet? Why? Because they want to make sure nobody gets their stuff. And so I think there's going to be a little moving backward before there's moving forward. What do I mean by that? So back in the day, what did you do with your money? You kept it in a mattress. Your grandma, your great grandma kept it under her mattress, right? People had in their, go back a couple centuries, people had treasures in their home. They had treasures. They had rooms where they stored their wealth in their homes, on their compound. Right? We don't do that today. We put our wealth in the bank, most of us. Now, we might have some things in a lock box. We might have some things in a safety box in our room or in the bank or anything like that. But for the most part, most of us, our wealth is held in the bank, or our wealth is held in title and documentation at a land rec, and it might be physical property, but we don't even, let me not talk about that. Let me go back to that's a whole nother conversation. I can already tell I want to get on a rabbit trail with that. So let me stay on this. So I think there's going to be a slight reversion back to the old times where you're storing all of this stuff yourself. And when it's going to result, in my unfortunate estimate, this is the bad part. This is the part that people don't like to hear. If we don't know how to manage our cash now, I'm worried that many poor people are actually going to become poorer before they get better. I also believe that there's a huge opportunity right now for people to learn about crypto, carve yourself out of space, make yourself indispensable, make yourself invaluable to those around you, and be able to serve them just like the mercantiles served the gold rush people, and just like the aviation companies found a way to serve the airlines. You may not be able to start up your own airline today, but you know there's still a way to serve. And you may not be able to develop your own NFT or your own cryptocurrency, but you can still find a way to carve out a market because the market is evolving. It is changing daily and rapidly. And so I hope that those comments have been fun for you. Hey, you know what? People do that. People do that. Oh my goodness. I had somebody pass away. And I can't remember if it was a niece or a daughter or one of their relatives came to me for financial coaching, and and this gentleman had stuff buried in the backyard, and it was just like, how do you know, and we think, how on earth does anybody do that anymore? But you got to remember, it was only 100 years ago when Wallace D. Wattles, 110 years ago when Wallace D. Wattles wrote what he wrote about this newfangled technology. The Great Depression was only 100 years ago. And, you know, it's interesting if you think about it. One of the reasons why I'm really, really into making sure you understand about investing in real estate and solid money management is because with the history of the Spanish flu, you had the Spanish flu, then it led you into World War, that leads you into World War One, and it leads you into the Great Depression. Okay. And so if you can go out there and Google it. Somebody else has already done the research and they've already put it all together. They show you patterns of the market that that align with patterns of what was going on back then versus what's going on now. And they show the peaks and the troughs in the market and how you had this peak and then these troughs and then these peaks and then these troughs. And all of those events are lining up very similarly to what we're lining up. And so some of those people are projecting some serious issues. And I encourage you to do some research. I'm not going to talk about all those here because I haven't vetted them. But, you know, I would keep your eye on the things that might be coming down the pike, and I would choose those to invest in. Or if you don't want to do that because you're like me and you ain't got the time to be bothered with all of that, I know I could make a lot more money in the market if I would sit down and glue myself to the news, the financial news, and track every single thing, every single moment. But you know what? I got a life to live, and I got kids to rear, and I got a ministry, and I got books to write, and I got conferences to hold. So you know what? I do the next best thing. I invest in index stocks, track the market, track this, track that. Maybe you have a religious or a faith-based or an environmental, you can find funds, you can find index funds and mutual funds that can do all of that. And then and you know, you want one that invests in things that are friendly to your population and your culture. You can find specific funds that are aligned with your values. That's the cool thing about investing. They got a fund for everyone. All right. I had one more question. Let me see. Let me see. What other question? Where did it go? Where did I put it? I drew this. Where did I put the other question? Oh, here. Okay, here we go. Okay. How do I want to paraphrase this? Okay, so for those of you who weren't on a couple weeks ago, I talked about foreclosure consulting 101. And so what this question is basically asking is, do they need to become a realtor to work with foreclosure consulting? And so my answer to this is going to be no. You do. Now, I can't answer no for the entire United States of America, okay? And I certainly can't answer for the rest of the world because the rest of the world has very different values of money and real estate. You can't even buy property and for generation to generation in some countries like you can here. So, but here in the United States, in most jurisdictions, you do not need to be a realtor to invest in real estate. In fact, in many jurisdictions, it can be a hindrance to be a realtor or a broker or a sales agent. Because a sales agent is somebody who can sell houses under the direction of a broker. A realtor is a sales agent who has taken an extra step and an extra commitment to ethics and reliability in the marketplace. All right. So that's effectively the same thing, but one has more professional training and one holds themselves to an ethical standard. Like, for example, there's a ton of financial planners out there. Everybody want to take your money, right? But I'm a fee-only fiduciary, which means that when you engage me, you pay that money for me to be your financial planner. Every decision I make on your behalf and every recommendation I give you is has to legally be in your best interest, not what's going to put the most commission in my pocket, not what's going to make the most people like me, not what's going to let me have the best Instagram post about how I help my client with this multi-million-dollar fund, right? It is whatever is the best in your interest. So it's a level up. Okay. So I don't think that you need to do that, because in a lot of jurisdictions, when you become a sales agent or a realtor, you are bound to not behave in certain ways that are very profitable for investors. And that varies from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. But in my case, I'll just give you one example. When I first became a realtor, and I was in the state of Maryland, I was stationed at the Pentagon, but we lived in Maryland. And at that time, I was paying people to find properties for me. They call it bird dogging. I would pay you $5 for every address that you sent me. And then if you got the contact information, like skip tracing, if you found out the contact information of the owner, then I would pay you $25. Well, when I signed that dotted line with Long and Foster and became one of their sales agents and then a realtor, one of the things that I discovered is I could not be compensated for real estate transactions that did not go through my broker. Ruh-roh, what am I supposed to do with this? Oh, it put the grip on me. It put the tighten the belt, tighten the straps. Like I could do a little bit of real estate, but I couldn't do the most profitable parts of real estate. And so eventually I moved to a different broker that was more real estate investor friendly. I moved to Keller Williams, which was more real estate investor friendly. But I still realize that because of the responsibility you have to get your client the best price, sometimes getting your client the best price is not always it's not always what you think. Like in my book, as a real estate investor / realtor, if I could get you this house sold fast, that was more important than getting the best money. But the best money might be what you need because you upside down on your loan. Well, investors aren't who buy houses fast and in cash and don't need you to do all the repairs. They don't usually pay retail price for a property. So you could see as at cross purposes. The people I know I could sell to in a hurry, they weren't buying what the clients wanted to buy for. And ethically, I couldn't sell it where I knew it needed to sell. So now I am in the process of getting my realtor's license again, or my real estate license, sales license here in Texas, and I will serve real estate investors. So I will serve them on the buying end, acquiring discounted properties. So if you know that you want to start investing in real estate and you're a little bit hesitant, you want somebody who's been there, done that to be in your corner, you can call your girl. I'll hook you up with a good deal. Not that I can just materialize good deals out of the air, but if I find a good deal, I can make sure it comes your way. And if you are looking for somebody to help you through the process, then you can talk to somebody who's been investing in real estate for 20 years. All right. Okay, this has been fun. Oh, thank you. I hope you'll come back and watch this and find out how much I appreciate you. It's a real man that can come back and apologize. I was not offended, but I do just like to make sure people understand that there is a method, and I like to stay in boundaries and make sure everybody's taken care of. I really greatly appreciate you. I hope you get restful sleep and a peaceful night tonight. All right. Let me see if there's anybody else that's got a question. Oh yeah, going back to the domain names. Yeah, man, if I knew now what I knew then, I would have bought all those names. And you know what? We were double income, no kids, y'all. I had the disposable income, and we were traveling too, so we used a lot of our income back then for travel. But I had the disposable income. I could have bought a ton of names. There's other names like one word names. One word that you would have never thought anybody would make a website out. They're making websites out of them today. And I'm like, so, that's all something. That's all, water under the bridge. I like the way Dr. Fraser says it when he talks about buying a cell phone rights, and then he sold it to him and his buddies sold the cell phone rights for Alabama to a Japanese country. They all made $1 million. They made $1 million off of that deal. And then that company 5 years later sold it to Viacom and made made 25 million or something like that. And he was like, was I mad that we didn't hold on to it? No, I wasn't mad. I got my million. I moved that money into something else, made more money with it. And that was a win-win-win. So I want to encourage you today. I want to thank y'all for being on the line today. I appreciate your questions. I appreciate your patience. And most of all, I appreciate your time. You know, your time is your most valuable resource. And I am honored and I am pleased. And my heart is just so full that you would choose to spend your time with me tonight. Now, look, if you have any questions you didn't think of while we were on the broadcast, make sure you go to the form at askjjc.com and submit your question so I'll be able to answer it next time. But for now, that is all I have for you. I hope that you've enjoyed yourself, but I'm going to go ahead and close it out here. I'll see you all next week. Next week is going to be what is it gonna be? Next week is gonna be our 7-figure business building. Sorry, I happen to see a 6 go across my stage. And if you would like to know, let me remove that from the stream. If you would like to know what it is we're gonna be covering on any given Thursday night, then I would encourage you to go out to my group. I'm gonna put it up on the screen for you. I'm going to encourage you to go out to my Facebook group, stop the screen, and then let me present that screen. Go out to my Facebook group. It is Build Wealth with JJ. It's called Building Wealth Together. All right. And you will be able to ask your questions and get your answers live. And you should be seeing this on your screen right now. You'll be able to see all of our classes. You look for this picture that says 2023 course lineup, and you should be able to see all. Let me make that bigger for you. Oh, that's not much bigger. Oh, hold on. Let me see if I can zoom it. Zoomity zoom zoom. Nope, it's not zooming. Let me scroll that back down. All right. Well, you'll be able to go out to Building Wealth Together with JJ Conway, and you'll be able to see what our classes are. Now, I did say I was going to do self-directed IRAs for 8 June because we had Juneteenth legacy during our real estate. But what I'm going to do is actually teach. So I got to update this. I'm going to actually teach self-directed IRAs during Juneteenth. It'll be a live in Chicago. So it'll be a live broadcast. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to have people there and it's going to be fun. I love whenever I can broadcast with people around. So what we're actually going to do next week, where is it? It's the one on summits because we had an issue on that one. So it didn't get delivered the way that I wanted it to. Here it is. This is what we're actually going to do on 8 June. So we're going to talk next week about how to make your first $1,000 with a virtual summit. And no, people are not tired of virtual summits. People still love virtual summits. So you want to learn how to host your own virtual summit, but you don't want to just host a virtual summit. You want it to be profitable. And we're going to be talking about how you do that next Thursday, 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern. And again, if you're listening to me on the Building Wealth Together podcast, I do hope that you will join us live every Thursday night where you can ask your questions live before they get fed into the podcast. But other than that, let me just check one more time. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you were on today. You have just added some joy to my life. Yay, yay, yay. All right, well, that's all I've got for you today. Y'all take care and be blessed.